Let's talk about Josiah Scott and the impact that he has had on the defense. Obviously playing in the place of the injured Avonte Maddox, who is on IR for at least the next 2 games. Josiah Scott got some play earlier in the season when Avonte Maddox missed 1 game. He's back in the slot now. He's been a mixed bag. He allows a passer rating of 120 when he's targeted. He's allowed 15 completions on 21 targets with 1 touchdown and 3 pass breakups. So it's notable. He's their 4th cornerback, but it's not all bad from him. So I want to look at some of the good and the bad from the Colts game. And so this first play, this is a run blitz. They're going to send a tight end in motion here. He's going to try to circle back and kick out block on Josh Sweat. Josiah Scott, when the motion happens, is going to come in and he's going to shoot inside that kick out block. And he is going to make this play in the backfield. And so we can roll the tape here. You see him shoot inside the tight end and he blows up the running back in the backfield. We'll see it from the back view here. Just a good job for him to get downfield and to make a play in the running game. Now let's look at another one. This is a quarters look. We're going to get streaks from both of the outside receivers, and the tight end is going to sort of run an out route. So Josiah Scott, since there's 3 receivers on this side, he's responsible for anything short to the flat. And so he's going to wall off this route. He's going to force an outside release, and then he's going to let it go to the safety who's now responsible for it. And you'll see him trigger downhill for this pass breakup on a 3rd down. So there he is. He passes it off, he plants, and he gets downhill, and he breaks up the pass. Now let's look at another example. This time we're going to see that even though he just had a good play, the Eagles don't always trust him on 3rd down. So we've got Josiah Scott is right up here. This is going to be a 3rd down play as well, 3rd and 8. This time it's going to be straight man coverage. This safety is going to play half field over the top. This safety is diving down to help Josiah Scott on the inside, which leaves James Bradbury all on his own on an island against what's going to be a whip route. And so the receiver's going to run in, he's going to break out, and we'll see that this is the ball that Matt Ryan is going to target. But notice the safety triggers downhill immediately to come help Josiah Scott. And so the Eagles aren't necessarily comfortable just putting him on an island. So they manipulate their coverage. They leave James Bradbury on an island, which is a better matchup. But it's notable that they felt like they needed to help Scott in that situation. Here we're going to see down at the red zone, this is going to be Josiah Scott again. He's in the slot. He is going to be in straight man coverage, and the receiver is going to run an out route. And this out route is going to beat Scott. Now, you could say this is a little bit of a push-off, and it is, but you create separation. You should always commit offensive pass interference until they call it, because they don't call it often. So he does a pretty good job of staying with him. He stumbles a little bit coming back. This should be a completion. He is able to knock it out. We'll see on the replay here that the receiver traps the ball against his leg, and then Scott punches it out. And so it's not the best coverage by Scott. He does slip a little bit, but he does a good job of recovering. And because the receiver makes a mistake, doesn't catch it clean, he leaves a window, and Scott punches the ball out. And so, that's a good rep from Scott in the recovery. This time we've got Josiah Scott. He's right up here. This is going to be cover 1 man. He has help to the middle of the field. TJ Edwards dropping here. And so his job is to shade outside. You don't want to get beat outside. You want to funnel to the inside. But he sort of overplays this. It's just going to be a slant route. And this is going to be an easy completion for 2 reasons. One is that TJ Edwards does a terrible job in zone coverage reading the quarterback's eyes. He way commits to the outside. And the other is that Josiah Scott is just giving up the inside too easy. So we see, look at this cushion, this outside shade. This is the easiest slant that you're ever going to see. And then Matt Ryan is able to move TJ Edwards, who darts way too far outside. He should be sitting here knowing that an in-breaking route has to come to him. But instead he overcommits and he leaves a wide open passing lane up the middle. So tag team, poor coverage are up there from both TJ Edwards and Josiah Scott. Now let's look at one more. This is going to be man coverage with one little caveat. When we've got 2 receivers grouped this close together, we think they might cross each other, run some sort of natural pick play. And so we're going to exchange those routes. So everybody else is man coverage. We've got a safety over the top, kind of a cover 1 look. This receiver is just going to run a drag route. He's not really what we're looking at. We want to look at these 2 receivers. And so the outside receiver here is going to run an in route. And the inside receiver is going to run a post route. We're trying to create confusion, make these guys run into each other. And so what we have is a first in, first out situation. Josiah Scott is going to take the first route that breaks outside, so he's going to pass off to this corner, and the safety is going to take the first in, and so he's going to pass off his guy and cover this in route. And just watch Scott, as he passes this route off, he recognizes what he's supposed to do. He just doesn't track the receiver well. So right here, you see him point. You saw that hand go up. He's pointing this out. He's pointing for the switch right there. He wants the switch, but he fails to maintain proper leverage. He's going to have to spin all the way around. You never want to have to turn your back on the quarterback like that. So he's in a bad situation. He spins around, and he's unable to stay contacted with the receiver, and he gets beat over the top. And so there's some good and some bad from Josiah Scott. Overall, the Eagles feel Avonte Maddox being out, but Josiah Scott's done a decent enough job in holding up. He's gaining valuable reps that, let's face it, Avonte Maddox hasn't been the most durable guy this year, that could aid him down the stretch if he has to step in the third or fourth